You know him as the ultimate American teenager. When people picture Michael J. Fox, they see a fast-talking, restless energy moving effortlessly through the center of American popular culture. He is Marty McFly, racing through suburban streets. He captures the pure, optimistic spirit of a decade. He fit into that world so perfectly that millions of people assumed his personal background exactly matched the image on the screen. You see, a star define an era of American pop culture, and you naturally think he must have grown out of American soil. The audience sees the performance and immediately turns it into an essence, believing he simply represented what he already was by birthright. But what you believe about this Hollywood icon is completely wrong. The boy who became the defining symbol of 1980s America was not American at all. He carried a family history that points straight back across the Atlantic Ocean. He grew up in a world entirely different from the stable, permanent neighborhoods he later made famous on film. And even the iconic name you know him by was actually a desperate makeshift solution to a frustrating industry roadblock. People usually want a massive star to come from one fixed place. They want a single street and a single school that can claim him, a town that can point at the television and say he belonged to them first. A fixed hometown gives a famous person a clean, easy backstory. It provides one local accent, one set of familiar roads, and one community that stays exactly the same, in memory every single time. Michael J. Fox never got that kind of childhood frame. He did not grow up with one hometown sitting neatly behind him like a single front door. His story breaks the traditional mold immediately. He was born in Edmonton, Alberta in 1961, but he did not stay planted in that one spot. His parents were Canadian, and his father served in the Canadian Army Signal Corps. That specific military role changed the entire rhythm of his family's life. When a father serves in the Signal Corps, the family does not get to dream of staying put. Family life strictly follows the demands of military postings. They moved often, living in different places across Canada, like Edmonton and Burnaby. The map kept changing under his feet long before the public ever knew his name. People often hear the phrase "army brat" and think it sounds casual, almost playful, but inside that phrase is a rigid, defining childhood structure. A child in that world quickly learns that a room, a school, a street, and a neighborhood can all be temporary. Familiarity itself can move. The adults might understand exactly why the duty changes, but for the child, the result is simply that the family goes wherever it is assigned. Childhood is usually the time when people begin attaching themselves deeply to a single place, remembering the town where everyone knew their name. Michael carried a different lesson entirely. He learned that places and settings change because military life dictates it must. This did not make his life rootless, but it made his roots behave differently. The movement was not random wandering or restless luck. The family did not drift. Drift sounds aimless, but posting sounds assigned. His anchor was never a specific town. His anchor was the family unit moving through the military system together. He was formed across multiple places, not inside just one. He did not just move around one small local region, but rather moved often across Canada, giving his childhood a wider national shape. This early lesson in constant adaptation served him perfectly when he tried to break into the brutal business of acting. Before a performer ever finds fame, there are dozens of hidden decisions and struggles the public never gets to see. One of those pivotal decisions involved his very identity. Today, his name feels so incredibly natural that it is impossible to imagine him as anyone else. The name Michael J. Fox has a sharp rhythm, and it feels like it was always waiting for him. Many people believe a popular myth about that middle initial. They think the name is a deliberate, clever pun. Micheal, a fox, sounds exactly like a joke created by a slick Hollywood publicity team after he achieved success. It flatters the audience, letting them feel incredibly smart for noticing the hidden wordplay. But the real story is far less cute and much more practical. When Micheal tried to register his name as a working actor, he slammed into a boring, bureaucratic industry obstacle. Another actor was already registered under the exact name Michael Fox. The union rules meant Micheal could not just step into the business with his own given name and leave it there. He had a massive problem. He had to find a version that legally worked, but his middle initial was A. Michael A. Fox did not sound right to his own ear. He felt it sounded extremely awkward. For an actor, a name is never just a label on a page. It is part of the performance before any performance even begins. It has the power to feel right or wrong in one instant. And Micheal understood he could not carry an awkward name onto movie posters. He actively rejected the letter A. Instead, he picked the letter J. He did not pull that letter out of thin air. He chose the J partly as a quiet nod to another actor he admired, Michael J. Pollard. It was a practical fix, combined directly with a gesture of respect. One actor blocked his original name by getting there first, and another actor helped inspire the replacement. That single chosen letter separated him from the other actor, rescued him from a lifetime of awkwardness, and built a vastly stronger public identity. Once the fame arrived, the public did what it always does with distinctive names. It simplified, polished, and invented a much better anecdote. People started sharing the Micheal, a fox joke, as if it were absolute fact. Micheal himself has clearly enjoyed playing along with this myth over the years. He has openly joked that the J stands for genuine or genius, but those fake meanings came much later. They are the playful afterglow of a high-stakes decision already made. The real choice was made by a young actor solving a registration problem, listening closely to the feel of his own name, and stepping away from what felt wrong. The smooth public result came directly from a private moment of selection. Michael J. Fox became one of those names people say quickly because it feels right that way, while a pun is flat and lands only once. While the name was a clever adaptation, the family history behind the actor is entirely real and completely shatters his public image. A biography tells you where Michael J. Fox was born, raised, and made famous. Ancestry tells you where his family branches were rooted before that. He became an overwhelming symbol of American teen optimism on screen. His massive roles placed him perfectly in the center of a decade's imagination. Because of this intense cultural impact, it is incredibly easy to assume that his deep family origins must line up with that exact same picture. The brain wants to smooth the whole story into one cohesive national picture. You assume he comes from deep, old American lines. But family history does not care where a grandchild later becomes beloved. The paper trail actively resists that assumption. His parents and grandparents belong to a completely different migration story. The records point straight back across the Atlantic Ocean. His father's side included an English emigrant. His paternal grandfather was born in Cumbria, a region rooted in industrial England. On his mother's side, the map expands even further. His maternal grandfather was born in Greenwich, London. His maternal grandmother was born in Belfast. These are not vague, romantic notions of soft heritage. Cumbria, Greenwich, and Belfast are exact grounded locations. They carry the heavy weight of ordinary people living working-class lives before the line ever reached North America. This was a family shaped heavily by motion long before Micheal ever faced a television camera. His ancestors left industrial England and Ireland and settled in Canada. His mother was Canadian. His parents' generation was part of a broader Canadian immigrant story, rather than a United States origin myth. The British and Irish roots did not float directly into the United States. They landed firmly in Canada first. If anything, that makes his fame feel more North Atlantic than people first assume. The British Isles stand behind the Canadian branch. The Canadian branch stands behind the actor, and the actor then becomes one of the most recognizable faces in American entertainment. This fact changes the emotional tone of his entire career arc. He was the child of a family fundamentally shaped by migration. The ancestors crossed the ocean, settling in an entirely new country. Micheal was born into that Canadian setting, growing up on military bases and learning how to move. Then he crossed a border himself, making a massive, ambitious leap from places like Edmonton and Burnaby directly into the fierce machinery of Hollywood. This is not an American star from an old American line. This is a Canada to Hollywood story. His journey translates a Canadian-born life with British-Irish origins into an American cultural language. He did it so fluently and convincingly that the public completely forgot it was a translation at all. Audiences watched his movies and assumed he was born into the exact national image he represented. That brings up the most fascinating twist of his entire life. Michael J. Fox became the ultimate face of American youth long before he was actually American on paper. The public image raced incredibly far ahead of his legal identity. Usually, people think citizenship comes first, serving as the solid foundation for a life. They expect the legal status to be firmly in place before someone becomes a national icon. Here, the order is completely reversed. He built his massive United States career first. The fame arrived. The widespread recognition arrived. The American public embraced him emotionally, claiming him as one of their very own. He did not actually become a United States citizen until 1999 or 2000, depending on the source. By the time he finally took the oath of citizenship, he was already long established. He was long past the edge of fame. He had already defined a generation. The audience did not wait for his official documents to catch up. They responded immediately to what they saw: his voice, his timing, his relentless energy, and his attitude. A performer can look so incredibly natural inside one culture's stories that people simply stop asking where he actually started. He became a massive symbol of a national feeling before the state ever gave him a formal stamp of approval. It proves that public belonging and formal legal belonging are not always the exact same thing. The famous face came long before the file. The cultural symbol arrived long before the passport. The world saw him one way, while the deeper record still held a completely different truth. Michael J. Fox's life refuses to sit quietly inside one simple, lazy label. Fame has a terrifying way of flattening a person into the specific nation that consumes them the most. It turns complex human beings into efficient, simple symbols, but a stubborn family tree does not bend just because a bright spotlight shifts countries. The records for his ancestry do not suddenly become American just because American audiences deeply embraced him. His story is a brilliant, undeniable chain of constant movement. It starts with working-class grandparents leaving Cumbria, Greenwich, and Belfast. It moves to parents building a new life in Canada. It follows a child growing up on military postings in Edmonton and Burnaby, learning early that home is wherever the family travels. It shifts to a young, hungry actor rejecting the awkward Michael A. Fox and choosing a new letter to secure his future. And finally, it explodes into American superstardom, creating a screen legend so powerful that millions thought he belonged to them from the very beginning. Some people are not built by one place alone, but rather built by movement between places and repeated rerouting. You look at him and see the ultimate American teenager, But underneath that famous grin is a much older, deeper map of a family that never stopped moving. He did not inherit the American dream from centuries of ancestors. He crossed a border, changed his name, and built it himself.